Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time we left off with the Soldier of Mercy, showing a Marine, or a soldier with the medical corps. Now on to Devil Dogs and Their Dogs. February 1944. Bring it on. Bring on the Japanese. Whoops. U.S. Marine Raiders and their jungle-trained dogs on a Bougainville trail, ready to go to work, hunting Japanese snipers. The dogs, besides running messages, are invaluable in seeking out Japanese, too well hidden for the sharp eyes of the men to locate. The sharper senses of the dogs locate the enemy, who are quickly dispatched to their ancestors by the Leathernecks. The dogs had been recruited in the United States, and many a home carried a service star in the window for the family pet who was sharing the discomforts of the war on the front, far from the family fireside or yard that it loved so well. The great majority of dogs were returned to their masters safe and sound, but many a home had to substitute a gold star for the blue star, which signified that the family pet had gone into action with armed forces. Yeah, dogs playing a valuable role, not just in this war, but most wars throughout human history. It's nice to kind of show that these dogs were, remembered for their service and were treated well, stars, things like that. Which, yes, they probably wish to return home, but some of these dogs didn't really have a home. They just kind of, this is what they were. But still, I believe that these dogs were probably taken at least good care of by the army. Long Tom sends a message to the Italians. February 1944. Tough on the eardrums of friend and foe. An American 155 millimeter Long Tom blows a smoke ring in the sky as it sends another load of death screaming towards the enemy in the Casino sector of Italy. Members of the gun crew hold their hands over their ears, for the Long Tom's voice is robust and not very kind to the ears of those nearby or those who are on the receiving end. The Long Tom was one of the most effective units of the American heavy artillery. So yeah, we can see the Long Tom right there, shooting that big smoke ring in the sky. And yeah, these guns would have been loud, so covering your ears, trying to get as much ear protection as possible would be invaluable, really, to these people. Task Force Interlude, February 6th, 1944. Time out on a South Pacific island. Jungle fighting is tough and dirty. And when fighting Japanese, there is very little time for the care of the teeth. But the first thing this officer of the United States Army, right there, did after emerging from the front lines was to brush his teeth. Below, palm fronds bow gracefully in the wind, framing in tropical beauty the silhouetted ships of a United States Navy task force. Lying at an anchor off one of the atolls it helped conquer. Ashore, men of the Navy set up their camp on the conquered island. Yeah, many of these guys, while yes, the fighting was probably particularly terrifying, probably enjoyed the locale, the nice beach vacation. But yeah, that guy's making sure his teeth are well taken care of. He's got his dental hygiene well on his mind. Back against their old enemy. February 1944. Back in action. A column of French soldiers part of a unit fighting for the Fifth Army in Italy, files through the ruined town of Aquafonda after Nazi patrols and snipers have been wiped out. The French, once again fighting their traditional enemies, the Germans, also routed them from Casale. Yeah, the French and it's always kind of funny to me because the French just have like rivals all over. So obviously they're like they said, their traditional enemy, the Germans. They got them. Those are their rivals. Then there's the British. Sometimes the Spaniards. Sometimes the Italians. They just kind of really didn't like anybody, which is kind of funny. The paths of glory. 2 French soldiers examine with satisfied smiles the graves of Nazi soldiers who died trying to keep Aquafondanta against the attack of the French troops in the Allied advance. Yeah, so well, it's not great that obviously that these men died per se. I'm sure the French are very like, yes, we got them. Yeah, we're burying them and giving them honors, but you know what? At least we got these sons of bitches. On the prowl for Nazis. February 12th, 1944. Street scene in Anzio. Their beachhead secured, British infantrymen moved through Anzio on the hunt for Germans. The first stage of the battle, south of Rome, passed without a hitch. The trouble came later, and soon the secured beachhead was stained with Allied and German blood. The first major German offensive, designed to push the Allies off the beach below Rome, was brought to a halt after the Nazis had gained about 5 miles and pushed the British out of 2 towns, Campoligna and Carsetto, 10 miles from Anzio. The Germans struck hard in their effort to drive the Allies into the sea, but the Allied lines, aided by superior air power, were able to hold off the Nazi drive. It was too early, however, to say that the Nazis had lost their offensive punch. They had elements of, or perhaps as many as 9 divisions on the beachhead front, and they still had orders to drive the Allies into the sea. There was no respite either from the British on the northern rim or the Americans on the eastern flank. And for a few days, bad weather slowed up our advance in the skies. Despite the comparative ease with which the beachhead was established, the fight to break out of Anzio pocket was to be a prolonged one. Yeah, Anzio will hold up the Allies here for quite a while. The Germans are just effective at holding it for quite a bit. Now, yeah, eventually the Allies will push them out, but it shows that the Germans aren't really out of this war yet. They've been losing quite a bit, but they're not completely out of this war. Japanese surrender on Namur Island. February 3rd, 1944. Oh, if it wants to... 1 second, I'll try to... There we go. Destroying the enemy of Namur. On February 3rd, the process of annihilating the enemy was proceeding on Namur Island. The remnants of the Japanese garrison had been trapped. About 36 hours after the fall of Namur, a blockhouse was found on the island, still to be in hands of the enemy. Moreover, it was soon discovered that it still contained a somewhat larger garrison than was at first expected. It was supposed that the occupants had been waiting for a counterattack when it presumed they would have emerged and taken part in the renewed fighting. Their strong point was, however, blown up. The picture shows the capture of its occupants who remained alive after the destruction of the blockhouse. They surrendered to the United States Marines. Yeah, so this is a big surprise. A lot of times Japanese didn't surrender, but they probably were. They're probably waiting for a counteroffensive that just never was going to come because Namur was taken so quick, there was never going to be that counterattack. But it's also possible they just didn't know what was going on. It's unlikely, but still possible. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I could improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.